Obama set up a system where certain cities, they receive funds from the federal government. They are called sanctuary cities, where they take these illegals into their cities and they receive funds. Now, we know that Trump, we know that U.S. Attorney General Jeff Sessions, they've been pushing to stop the funding of the sanctuary cities. And we see already that Jeff Sessions, well, he's already letting these cities know, he's warning them that they might lose their portion of the $4.1 billion in grants from the Department of Justice if they continue to protect murderers, child rapists, drug traffickers illegally present in the United States. And this is who they are going after first. Those individuals that came into this country illegally, who were not vetted properly, who have committed crimes in other countries. Those individuals that committed murder, individuals that raped children, those individuals that are drug traffickers who might belong to a drug cartel. Well, those individuals, they are being rounded up and sent out of this country. And he referenced states and cities who have enacted policies commonly known as sanctuary policies, those which hinder the enforcement of federal immigration laws. This includes refusing to detain known felons on federal detainer requests or otherwise failing to comply with these laws. And we can see right now that they're making this push. Now, a lot of the cities, well, they're not going to go along with what Jeff Sessions is proposing here, and they're going to be pushing back, and a lot of the cities have been pushing back. Now, the whole fiasco with Nunes and the spying and everything that's going on, well, it has just hit another level. Right now, Schiff, well, he wants Chairman Nunes to recuse himself from the Trump-Russia probe because we can see right now they're afraid of the information that he has. Remember, the deep state right now is looking at this entire situation, and they're scratching their heads. They're wondering, what exactly does Nunes have? What exactly does Trump know? And how are they going to proceed? Because right now, they're very nervous, and they want Devin Nunes basically out of the picture. They want to regain control of what is going on here, because what they're most afraid of right now is that this whole thing is going to be blown wide open and a gigantic truth bomb is going to come out of this. And we can see right now that Nunes is saying, absolutely not. I am not stepping aside from the investigation at all. He says, why would I? The calls for him to resign came after revelations about his meeting with a secret source on White House grounds raised questions about his and the panel's independence. Nunes said the pressure for him to resign is typical politics and he's not playing along. Trey Gowdy came in and he said, well, if the Intel Committee chairman can't brief the president, we're in a very strange place. And we can see right now that Gowdy is saying, first of all, who is Schiff, who is Schumer, to call on Nunes to step aside? We're not going to do anything they tell us to do. We're not going to just do it because they want us to do it. And he's absolutely right. Because for them to push so hard, for them to continually be out there and for them to continually say, we need these individuals to recuse themselves, we need to know the source, who is it, where, what do they have? They are nervous right now. They're afraid of this information that might be spilled out into the public realm, and the public looks at it and says, just a minute here. Are you to tell me that these individuals in the Obama administration have been spying on Trump and many other individuals, and they went ahead and broke the law and unmasked certain individuals? And they're trying to regain control of this whole scenario. And they're very nervous now. And this is why they're pushing so hard to find out who the leaker is. Actually, it's not even a leaker. It's an actual source. They want Nunes to recuse himself. And they're really pushing this very hard. Trump is out there, and he took to Twitter saying that actually the congressional lawmakers, they should be looking into Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton and what ties they have to Russia. And he tweeted out, why isn't the House Intelligence Committee looking into the Bill and Hillary deal that allowed big uranium to go to Russia, Russian speech, which was then followed by money to Bill, the Hillary Russian reset, praise of Russia by Hillary, or Podesta Russian company? And he's absolutely right, because we can see that then Secretary of State Clinton, well, she allowed big uranium to go to Russia. And Bill Clinton's high-dollar Russian speech were allegations first reported by the New York Times and based on research from the New York Times bestseller Clinton Cash, authored by Breitbart News editor Peter Schweizer. The facts found in Clinton Cash, reported by the New York Times and deemed accurate by establishment media reveal how Clinton's tenure as Secretary of State coincided with the influx of tens of millions of dollars from foreign sources into the Clinton Foundation, which resulted in favorable actions for Russian government. Indeed, the Clinton Foundation had received millions in donations from several investors in Uranium One, a Canadian-based company in which a majority stake was sold to Russia's nuclear energy agency, Rosatom, in a lucrative deal needing approval from Clinton's State Department and 8 other federal agencies. The sale gave the Russians control of 1/5 of all uranium production capacity in the United States. The New York Times confirmed this. The deal, as Trump points out, refers to how donations to the Clinton Foundation from executives of Russian-owned Uranium One had exceeded $145 million. Again, according to the New York Times. In fact, those Clinton Foundation donations from uranium investors spiked just as the deal for Russia's Rosatom to secure Uranium One was being finalized. And we can see there is evidence there. There's something to look into. But again, nothing is being done. Nothing is being done for those individuals that unmasked Flynn, where the crime was committed. But they're looking into the connection between Trump and Russia, where every single person says there is no connection. So you can see how this is all slanted. Now, Trump today signed the Energy Independence, which completely killed Obama's climate change initiative, and we can see that this was one of his promises during his campaign. Now, there are individuals out there saying that, well, Trump is putting on a show, he's really part of the system, and this is just one gigantic show that he's putting on for the entire country, and the central bankers, the deep state, well, they have complete control of all of this, and we're all being fooled, I'm being fooled. If that is the case, then there'd be no reason whatsoever to push this hard to try to connect him to Russia. The push wouldn't be so hard to try to get him out of office. The push wouldn't be so hard to stop him from being elected. Because if it's really part of the system, and this was part of what they really wanted, just like Obama, just like the Bushes, just like going all the way back, you wouldn't need a show. They would continue on with what they're doing here. And actually, if they were really in control, they would have Clinton in office right now, like they planned. Do I think he's doing what what he can do? Yes. Do I think all his actions are working in the best interest of the people? Not really, because he's brought on many individuals that I do not agree with. And we can see that, yes, he might be, persuaded to do other things. And again, we still have to wait to see what he does. Now, out in the Middle East, that is a completely different story. It's like he's hands off of what is going on in the Middle East, and he's handed that over to the deep state because they're doing whatever they're doing out there, and they're trying to meet their agenda. They're trying to go for their goal, and it looks like he's really not getting involved in that. And I know he's trying to push, manufacturing back here. He's trying to push jobs back here. But again, without tackling the real issues, and that is the central bank. And if he doesn't go after the central bank, I know he hanged the portrait up, Andrew Jackson, it is a signal. If he doesn't go after the central bank and he lets the central bank stay and just replaces Janet Yellen, we know right there and then that he is not working for the people. He's working for the Now, if he takes control of the central bank and he's telling them what to do and he reveals what the central bank has been doing, that is a completely different story. And again, the bill just passed the House right now. We will have to wait and see. Now, if he really wanted to go ahead and remove the central bank, he could do what Andrew Jackson did. Take the funds from the central bank, redistribute it to private banks. Now, I'm not talking about JP Morgan Chase and all those others, but private, small mom and pop banks, spread it around, and basically go after the central bank and destroy it and bring back the creation of currency back to the U.S. government the way the founding fathers wanted. But again, we'll have to wait to see and see where this all goes. Now, everyone should remember former Vice President Dick Cheney, the one who called the shots when Bush was president. I'm talking about younger Bush. And he had to chime in on the whole Russian cyber attack on the election. And he's out there saying, well, this could be viewed as an act of war. We should really go to war over this. I mean, look how these neocons, look how badly they want war. He comes out of retirement to tell us that we should be going to war. Now, Rand Paul, on the other hand, well, he dropped a truth bomb on Congress about sending Americans to die in undeclared wars. Today, he said on the Senate floor, and he did this most likely to shame his colleagues, about not debating and voting for war before sending young Americans to fight in foreign countries. He said nobody wanted this debate, he said. They wanted just to rubber stamp it, and they want to send all the young kids to war with no debate, which is ridiculous because Congress declares war. And Congress should have stood up and said, well, wait a minute. Why are we going out to all of these countries? What is the purpose? They never attacked the United States. What is the real reason we're going out there? Let's have a debate. And he's absolutely right, and I agree with him. Now, today, the U.S. Senate advances approval for Montenegro to join NATO. We understand that when McCain was on the floor and he said anyone who objects for Montenegro to becoming part of NATO, well, those individuals are working for Russia, working for Vladimir Putin. And of course, Rand Paul stood up and said, I object. And of course, McCain says, well, he's working for Putin. But we can see right now the U.S. Senate, they voted overwhelmingly to advance the approval. They want it part of NATO. And again, this is another push to provoke Russia. This is what they want. These neocons want to continually provoke Russia. And they, in their minds, they really do believe that Russia is going to attack any minute, that Russia is the enemy. The only reason it is considered the enemy is because Putin took control of the central bank, and the private Western central bankers do not control it anymore. And this is what the central bank does. All those countries where they're not in control of the central bank, these are the countries we're going to be going to war with. And we can see they are pushing their agenda. They want war. We see Turkey right now, the Turkey Deputy Prime Minister, he is warning that a new wave of migrants, well, it's on its way from Iran to Turkey, about 3 million strong, and they're going to be pushed into Europe to create havoc. And he said, you thought last time was bad? Wait until this time. We can see that the deep state, the central bankers, they are pushing their agenda. And their agenda is still to have a one world government. They want to blend everyone together. They don't want countries to have individual cultures and history and things like that. They want everyone to be the same. They want it all as one because that's how it fits into their model. Now, we can see the Pentagon is reportedly considering ramping up U.S. support in Yemen right now, and it looks like they're preparing to bring in troops into this area. And again, Yemen never attacked Saudi Arabia. Yemen never attacked the United States. Yemen removed their puppet government, and Yemen wanted their country back. But the United States government central bankers, they cannot have that. They want all the countries they went into, they want complete control of them to keep the dollar on oil. What other reason would we be out there for? It's not for freedom. It's not for democracy. It's not for the beautiful sights and the waterways. It's basically to keep control of those oil-producing countries. If there was no oil there, the United States wouldn't even be there. We see Libya's Haftar. Well, he refused an invite to Tunisia, and he is saying that the Tunisian government, well, they're hostile to the Tobruk government, and he says there is absolutely no reason to meet with them. And we understand that Russia is in support of Haftar. We see the UK is now moving away from the UN-backed government and moving closer towards the Tobruk government. And we can see things are rapidly changing in Libya. And this is why the U.S. is never going to leave Libya, and they're preparing to strike in Libya once again. We see the watchdog, well, it has slammed the U.S.-led coalition for the bombing in Mosul. We see that they're looking into it and they're gathering evidence. in East Mosul, and it points to an alarming pattern of U.S.-led coalition airstrikes which have destroyed whole houses with entire families inside. And they're looking into this, and they're saying this is just unbelievable. And this is a pattern. We've seen this before. Iran is out there. They are saying, and this is coming from the Iranian foreign minister, saying that, yes, Russia can use its military bases on a case-by-case basis to defend Assad in Syria. And we can see right now that Russian jets have used the air base in Iran to strike different targets in Syria, and they'll be doing this as we move forward here. Now, the United States and the coalition forces, they are preparing most likely to balkanize Syria. We see that the coalition, well, they destroyed 4 bridges, 2 in Raqqa and 2 in the settlements of El Khalta and El Abara. And as a result of these actions, we see there's about 200,000 inhabitants, and they're kind of stuck. They don't know where to go right now. And we see that Russia is looking at the situation, and they're saying that these strikes make no sense whatsoever in what they're doing. And when they look at the situation, they're saying the only reason to do this is to separate Syria. Very interesting, because what's happening now, they are destroying critical infrastructure in Syria, which they've been doing all along, and they are making it impossible to rebuild Syria right now, and they're splitting Syria apart. And Lavrov is responding to U.S. decision to block the advance of the Syrian army in Raqqa. He's looking at the entire situation. He sees what's going on, and he's realizing that the United States government central bankers, the deep state, they're doing exactly what we thought they were going to do. They are now preparing to separate Syria. They're preparing to balkanize Syria. And this bombardment of these bridges and what they're doing in Raqqa right now is a signal that they're quietly doing this. Why do you think they set up the bases in all these areas? Why do you think they brought troops in? Why do you think there's a new talk about safe zones or stabilization zones? Because what they're going to do is they're going to create this whole entire area, and they're going to call it a stabilization zone. And they're going to say, listen, no troops, no fighting, we own this zone. That's what they're trying to do right now. And we see that the Syrian opposition, they are out there once again demanding Assad's immediate resignation for a peace settlement. Now, they've been saying this over and over, and Russia and Syria have been saying the same thing over and over. If Assad is going to step down, it will be from the will of the people. The people will vote for Assad or a new president. We're not going to listen to the opposition. We're not going to listen to the U.S. government. We're going to listen to the people by having a fair and open election. Now, today, we see the White House. They were on lockdown right now. A man approached the building with a suspicious package. Agents locked the doors of the Brady press room around 10:24 a.m., ordering reporters to stay inside the building. And according to a Secret Service spokesman at the White House, a man approached an officer outside the White House and made a suspicious comment and had a package in his possession. And then a team of explosive experts were investigating the package, and pretty much they found nothing at this point. So what is happening right now? Well, the deep state, one, they're very nervous about these truth bombs that are coming out about the Obama administration spying on the Trump campaign and many other people. It's not just the Trump campaign. They're worried about individuals being outed, showing that they did unmask certain individuals. They're preparing to go in to Syria and finish what they started by separating Syria and having a stabilization zone. And all of this is happening all at once. At the same time, because remember, all of this depends on them separating Syria, having a pipeline going through this area into Turkey, out into Europe, to keep the petrodollar supported. And this is why they're pushing their agendas so hard, because they realize in all of these countries that they need to keep this going a little bit longer, because if they allow the people of these countries to take back their countries and allow Russia in, well, our system dies right away. If they can keep these individuals back, keep the country's in limbo right now. They have the ability to bring down the economy, and they have the ability to complete the narrative of why it came down, who was responsible for bringing it down, and how the central bank is needed to fix the economy once again. So we can see everything is in play. They're doing exactly what we thought they'd be doing. And we can see in the next couple of days or so, I would say in the next week or two, we're going to see major things happening out in Syria and in many of the areas. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.